Did you know there's a secret history beneath the plains of North America? A history written, not in words, but in the very earth itself. The story is told through the fossils found in the Badlands of South Dakota to the tar pits of California. A story of giants. Giants that once roamed the continent in such vast numbers that they shaped the land with their own two hooves. I'm talking about bison, specifically the now extinct giant bison, also known as bison. These massive creatures weighed up to 2,000 pounds and stood over 6 feet tall at the shoulder. That's the size of a full-grown polar bear. And just like the mighty bear, the giant bison was an apex predator, meaning it was at the top of the food chain. It had no natural enemies, except maybe the saber-toothed cat, which we'll talk about in a future episode. In the Great Plains, bison were as numerous as the stars in the sky. In the summer male, bison would travel with their calves, stopping to graze on the lush vegetation. They preferred the short grasses and sedges growing along streams and rivers, which are still there today, thanks to the beaver. That's right. Beavers create the wetlands that bison prefer by cutting down trees and building dams. In fact, bison followed the beaver highways just like today. Megaherds of wildebeest followed the zebra highways in the Serengeti. But unlike the wildebeest, whose numbers have dwindled to a few thousand, the great bison once numbered in the tens of millions, and it was this sheer number that allowed them to shape the landscape. As they moved from one grazing ground to the next, they trampled the vegetation, leaving behind a rich, dark manure that fertilized the soil. This created a cycle of plant growth and decay that enriched the grasslands and supported an incredible diversity of life. In fact, bison dung contains the oldest DNA ever discovered, over 1 million years old. But things weren't always this way. Before the bison arrived, the Great Plains were covered in forest. But as the bison migrated across the continent, they cleared the land, allowing for the grasses to take over and eventually giving way to the agricultural lands we see today. And yet, despite their enormous impact on the environment, the giant bison didn't just disappear. It evolved into the bison we know today. And while they may not be as tall as their ancestors, they are just as important to the ecosystem. Today, bison can be found in small numbers throughout the United States and Canada, and they continue to shape the landscape with their grazing patterns. So the next time you see a bison, take a moment to appreciate the ancient history that this animal represents. A history that dates back over 10,000 years and 500,000 migrations across the Great Plains. Thanks for watching.